guys! I hope everybody has had a great weekend. I know it's Tuesday, but I hope everybody was able to get caught up. I know I had uploaded a lot of videos at once, so I kind of gave some space for everybody to get caught up and work at their own pace. These are going to be new lessons. We're going to be starting on lesson 27 for math. So we are on page 179. We're still going to be looking at shapes. But this time we're going to be putting shapes together to make new shapes and things like that. So I know there is a workbook page 178. That one we are going to skip because that requires you to have different activity blocks and kind of play around with it. So we're going to start on 179. So you're going to use 3 different shapes to make a hexagon. So I want you to remember that a hexagon has 6 sides, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and it looks like this. Sorry, that glare is crazy. Okay, so you're going to be making this shape, but using different pieces. So one way that you might be able to do that is by dividing this one, and so we have this shape. I'm going to kind of shade it in so you can see. Okay, and then from here, you could make this triangle shape, so I'm going to do a different pattern, okay, and then you're going to have this diamond shape left over. So this would be one way that you could make a hexagon with 3 different shapes. So you're just going to kind of play around and use different shapes to see how you can create a hexagon, all right? After that, on page 180, we're going to look at some different shapes to see how they can be made. So up at the top, it's showing that you can put 2 triangles together to make a rhombus. You could put a rhombus and a triangle together to make a trapezoid. And then you could use 6 triangles to make a hexagon. So all of those are single shapes that once you put together, create a new shape. So down on the bottom, they want you to show other ways to put shapes together to make a hexagon. So it's going to be similar to what you did on the page before when you drew your own. But now they give you that shape, and you're just going to divide it up into the different shapes that you want to use, okay? And then, as always, there's going to be additional discussion questions that go along with this video. And so we're going to go ahead and look at page 181 now, and we're going to put more shapes together. So up at that top part where the colored shapes are, you're using those shapes to put together to make new shapes. So you can see that they use that red and that yellow triangle to make a square. And then they took that square that they used with those 2 triangles and they made 2 of those to create a rectangle using 4 triangles. Okay? So, since you don't have the blocks, you're just going to draw them. So on that first one, it says to make this shape that it's giving you, kind of like a half moon. You're going to divide that so that it's making 2 separate shapes. Okay? And then from there, on number 2, you're taking that circle and you're going to divide that up. So you could divide it into you could divide it so it's 2 pieces, 3 pieces, 4 pieces, however you want to make that circle into different shapes. All right. And of course, pause the video at any time while you're working. All right, so on page 182, up at the top, you're going to color, or you can do patterns like I did. So how there's different patterns. If you want to shade a piece in with your pencil, if you want to do a pattern on one, however you can show different shapes within the bigger shape, okay? So on number 3, you're coloring or using a pattern to show how to make the rectangle. So it says use 2 shapes. So you're going to take that rectangle and use 2 shapes to make a different shape, okay, to create that rectangle. And then you're going to use 3 shapes. So you can go ahead and color or shade however you want to make those triangles into rectangles. And then number 4 says use the shapes from number 3 to make a trapezoid. Okay, so the trapezoid looks like this. Apologize. We've got a flat part and then a long part, a long part. That one needs to be a little more pointed. I'm sorry about that. Okay, so you're going to use the shape that you used on number 3 to go ahead and make a trapezoid. So this is what your end picture is going to look like. So you're going to use those shapes to create this shape. And then on number 5, Buzz and Boom are at it again. So they are figuring out a problem. So it says, Buzz says the 2 triangles make a square. Boom says the shape is not a square. Who is right and how do you know? So the shape that they're talking about looks like this. Okay, and it's divided in half. So if you'll remember from the lesson last week, lesson 26, we talked about rotating shapes and how the shape doesn't change, but when you rotate it, the position changes. Okay, so I want you to keep that in mind when you're talking about this to figure out who is right. Okay, so go ahead and pause the video to finish that one up. Alright, so lastly, we're going to be on page 83. So for page 83, this is an independent practice, so you're going to be doing most of this on your own. But you are going to be taking 4 or more shapes to make 2 new shapes. Okay, so you've got 2 boxes right there where you're going to take the shapes we've learned about. You can use trapezoids, hexagons, triangles, squares, and you're going to be making new shapes. You need to use 4 or more shapes to create a new shape, okay? And you're doing 2 of those. And then down on the bottom, it gives you the shapes that you can use, and it wants you to put how many of each one you used, all right? So like I said, that one is going to be an independent practice, so try and do that one all on your own. If you have any questions, please reach out to me so I can help you. I know these can be a little bit difficult if you don't have the pieces in front of you, so please reach out if you have any questions, and I will see you soon.